Hello, I'm Dr. Laura Murillo, President and CEO of the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. So happy to have our next guest here. He's going to talk to us a little bit about AI, your business, non-for-profits, and embracing, not being afraid of AI and how you can utilize that as well. So please welcome Mustafa Tameez. He is the Chief Executive Officer and founder of Outreach Strategist LLC. Welcome, Mustafa.
Good to be with you.
Thank you so much. And we were happy to have you at the Chamber's luncheon just a couple of weeks ago, and you and about 2,000 other attendees. Thank you so much. You have been such an integral part of Houston, friend of the Chamber and entrepreneur. So again, my thanks to you and your team for all that you do.
Well, thanks. And I tell you, every year you set a very high bar for your annual luncheon. It is not a luncheon; it's an experience because there's a lot of energy and it's a lot of fun, and it just feels like a reunion every time you're in that room with 2,000 people.
Yeah, well, we appreciate it. We're a small team and we always host the event. It's great to hear the connections between our entrepreneurs and other people, meetings they've set up as a result, interviews that people get for jobs. And it's a win-win for our city. And I think especially as there's so much going on across the country and even in Houston, it's a time for us to come together and realize that this is a vibrant, can-do city with leaders like yourself. And to focus on the positive and what is possible. So on that note, AI, lots of conversation about AI. So tell us from your perspective what folks should know and how it can help and augment the work they're doing in their businesses.
Well, it's kind of like what you were talking about, the big event that you just had. It creates connections, right? And AI is a mechanism to basically connect things quicker and faster. Uh, a lot of data, a lot of information. So you got 2,000 people in the room, but key connections happen where business takes place. Same thing in the AI world. A lot of information exists for us, but how does that information connect? How does it help us move our organizations forward? And so there's a general fear about the technology. People believe that, oh, it's going to eliminate jobs, and they have this sense of scarcity. And every time we've had innovation, every time we've had advancement in technology, there's always job losses in a certain part or certain segment, but then there's gains in somewhere else because the demand only increases as we increase productivity. So we talk to a lot of clients all the time on AI and how they can integrate it into their workflows to make their work more effective, to be more responsive to their customers, and to really improve customer service across the board. And when we do that, you basically create more demand for your services, and you're able to hire more people and just do more.
Well, and on the other side of it, let's assume you keep your workforce. AI is taking care of, let's say, this list of things. It keeps the other people, gives the other people time to do some of the things that they would like to do, but for AI, they don't have the time to do it, right?
That's exactly it. So, what we should be thinking about from a leadership standpoint, those of you that run big companies or small companies and everything in the middle, is what kind of applications that need to be developed and what kind of workflows that could be adapted to AI. So, for example, anything that's repetitive, right? So, I have a friend of mine who runs a doctor's office, and to this day, a fax comes in from the general practice and referring patients, and information goes back and forth between fax machines in doctors' offices. I don't know about you. Have you noticed that?
You said fax machine.
Fax machines. So if you go to any physician's office, and again, there's lots of physicians in Houston, that you will find that they're still using fax machine to send information, right? So he was struggling on, how do I get out of this? Because even if I don't use the fax machine, the people I deal with use fax machines, right? So there's an AI solution for that. You're able to take the incoming fax, take the data that comes from fax, and just put it into your ERP system. Now, it costed probably about $2,500 for them to make that automation. But in doing so, the accuracy, the speed at which they were able to do it, the appointments that didn't get missed, the security in the data that was being transferred, all of those things we're being able to handle. So a small investment upfront in automation yields so much more in their ability to serve their patients and long term, save on this redundant paperwork.
Sure, sure. So that's a great example, Mustafa. What do you think it's going to take for, let's say, folks who are slow on the jumping on board, like some of those fax people, right? What is it going to take for them to say, okay, maybe this AI stuff is not a trend, kind of like the computer was not a trend. What's it going to take?
Well, look, if you just look at the stats around the world, AI is adopted about 52, 53% of the people use some source of it. In the United States, it's only 28%. And
Oh,
that's not like any of all the technologies are like that. In places where you have very established technology, new things take longer to adopt, right? And so it completely makes sense. But AI is automation of automation, right? It is the kind of thing that automates itself. So we need to rapidly adapt to it. We need to rapidly adapt our workforces, and we as leaders really need to use it ourselves to understand how our workforce can use it. So this is to me, it's a personal responsibility. There's a lot happening in the world. This is the subject of a lot of conversation. Rather than being afraid of it, let's try to understand it and work with it. If we work with it ourselves, the ideas in our entrepreneurs and our leaders that lead big agencies and small businesses, the ideas will come to them in terms of like, how can we use it in our own shop? And so applying it is where the power is.
okay. On that note, I feel like more entrepreneurs are utilizing Chat GPT as an example. On the other hand, there are some who feel like kind of like the what is it, Alexa in the home, right? That you're commanding and they're playing music, and it seems innocent enough until there's breaches in confidentiality. So let's talk about confidentiality and if there's any truth to the concerns with Chat GPT and similar programs that somehow it's culling data about you and it's going to somehow be used against your business or against you.
Well, one thing, there's very little privacy in the digital space now. You send an email, information on there is being aggregated and anonymized, meaning that they're not looking at who sent what email, what did the email say, but it anonymizes that information, and then you're seeing ads right, on your feed. So you're sending emails about, the great event at the chamber, and I'm thinking about doing an event. And all of a sudden, you're seeing in your Facebook feed ads about event planning, right? So that's data gets anonymized and used for marketing all the time. So the privacy is very limited, and in order to get privacy, you have to pay a premium, right? You have to get an encrypted email or something. In general, outside of that anonymous selling part, like how safe is it? I think that for most people, and it's not for everybody, and some people are on national security, some people are on some very high security things, a little different for them. But for most of us, we can give up a little bit of that fear of privacy for more productivity, right? Because there's a lot riding on these companies. If somehow you put something on that AI and that shows up in a public space somewhere, what kind of liability does ChatGPT get then at that point? What kind of liability does Google have if that ever happens? So they're very careful. They have a lot of security around that. I think that because of the fear, sometimes we don't engage something and use it to its maximum, utility. And I think that for us, we have already decided as a society to give up some portions of our privacy for that productivity, and AI is no different.
Or so on that note, you mentioned something about you type something in an email and then you start getting ads in your Facebook feed or elsewhere. Would that be the case too with your phone in your hand, where you're talking to someone about something? Because I feel like it's happened to me where I say something and then I get an advertisement on whatever it is I just spoke of.
Yeah. So in the ad business, which we're a big part of, right? We do a lot of digital advertising for one of the largest shop in Houston to do that. Um, you are able to build lists purchase list, acquire list, advertise to a certain group of people. It's called intent marketing. So if your intent, whether you're searching for something, sending out emails, you're putting out a signal to say, I'm interested in X. For
Yeah.
advertisers, right? Now the timing of how it connects to you is critically important. So when you're searching, when you're emailing, when you're talking to Alexa, your kind of like your IP address is being identified as someone interested in this. Not your name, not your personal information, but the fact that you're interested in this is in universe. So if I'm looking to advertise to people that are interested in events planning, right? Your name's going to pop up, not your name, but your IP is going to pop up, and you're going to start seeing those ads. That's intent advertising. So it's the same thing as you see a blue shirt, you like a blue shirt, in a different way. All of a sudden, you start seeing blue shirts wherever you go, right? Online. And people are trying to sell you that blue shirt online all the time. That's remarketing, right? That's a different form of kind of uh, looking at a pixel and then advertising those people. So we have all, as a society, given up some portion of our privacy so that we can lower our costs in technology because advertising, watching TV, watching those ads, giving up, watching something on your phone, looking at something, on your laptop, you're giving up some of that for that free internet experience that you have.
Got it. Well, Mustafa, anything else you want to share with the audience before we wrap up?
Well, I would say this, and I think that a lot of your viewers, especially people in the small, mid-sized businesses, have a lot of concerns about privacy and security. And I think we have to be very conscious of it. At the same time, this emerging technology, it can't prevent us from learning it and mastering it because if it leaves us behind, automation of automation, it moves so much faster than it will have real consequences to our businesses. So, as you said when we started, you got to embrace it.
Yes, it's here to stay and ever changing. Mustafa, thank you so much for all you do. We'll see you real soon. Goodbye.
Thank you.